This is Abnormal Entertainment.
Ladies and gentlemen of the internet.
This is Steve's house.
Mr. Stevie Wonder. Mr. Stevie Wonder. Mr. Stevie Wonder.
It's the year of Living Stevie.
Mr. Stevie Wonder. Mr. Stevie Wonder.
Hey everyone, and welcome to the Year of Living Stevie. I'm your host, Daryl Bean. Glad to have you here with us today. Today we have an interesting and a very unusual episode. The first one like this in the series, and if it goes well, it might be something we do again down the road. It's an internet grab bag show, this was one of those times where you have to kind of roll with the punches in the broadcast world. I was supposed to have Elsie Binks on the show today, and the way that scheduling works, sometimes you have everything figured out and then something goes pear-shaped. No fault on anybody's side or anything like that, but we'll be bringing you an Elsie Binks show in the very, very near future, I promise. Sorry about that, but unfortunately we were unable to pull off the interview and recording of the songs like we do with all the other hosts or all the other guests that we've had on the show so far. So I kind of sprang into action as soon as I started feeling like, okay, this might not work out. And I got in touch with some friends of mine who are also going to hear in an interview down the road very soon, a group called the Aeon Wanderers. And it's a really interesting group. I'm really looking forward to bringing that interview to you because it's a transatlantic duo that records together. They don't perform live. They're a recording group. And one of the members lives in Massachusetts. The other one lives in Scotland. So we set up a Google Hangout and we talked, and it was a great conversation. We had a really, really great hour-long conversation. Unfortunately, when I recorded it, here's what happened. So as you could hear, you get a lot of me, not so much of them. So that didn't work out really great. And we had a choice because one of them was going on vacation, and then when they got back, the other one went on vacation. And it was just like, okay, we can either do this again the same day and have that vibe of, okay, we already talked about all this stuff in the interview, which is no fun to listen to, or we could let it go, give it a week to kind of relax, and then come back to it and have a much more natural sounding conversation. So we decided to do that. But that left me with a conundrum. It left me with a little bit of a problem. I had a show due on Monday, and I could either postpone and not put a show up, or because I care about you, the listener, I said, I can't let you down. I know people are coming and, they're looking forward to every 2 weeks, the blast to Stevie that's coming to them, or at least I hope so anyway. So I decided, let's try and put something together. Let's see if we can maybe get a show happening that maybe isn't the same kind of show that we always have with an interview and performances, but something maybe a little different. So I kind of juggled around some ideas, and what I came up with as I was researching some different topics that I was going to do, I realized that there was this incredible wealth of Stevie stuff on the internet. I mean, there is tons and tons and tons of stuff, especially on YouTube, videos from all different phases in his career and all kinds of interesting and rare stuff. So what I did is I went digging, and I kind of found a few different videos that I thought you might be interested in. The things that maybe slipped through the radar, that weren't quite as obvious, and that were really, really interesting. So that's what we're going to do today. I'm going to highlight some of these different clips. You're going to hear some parts of them. And I'll also put the web address for all these videos so that you can watch them, and probably on the show page on Blogspot. So if you go to theyearoflivingstevie.blogspot.com, there'll be links where you can go to all these different YouTube sites and check out all this stuff. And I found some really, really cool stuff that I'm really, really excited for. So I'm looking forward to digging into that. In a couple weeks, we'll be back to the interview format. And I believe my next interview, I think the next show that comes out will be with the Aeon Wanderers. And it's going to be a really, really fun show. We had a great interview, so I'm sure we'll get back there again when they get back from vacation. And they had a couple of excellent songs, so that's going to be really, really fun. So we'll be back to the interview format next time. in a couple of weeks. But for today, sit back, maybe get your laptop or your iPad or whatever out in front of you so you can go dig up some YouTube clips. And we're going to do a little bit of a internet grab bag of Stevie Wonder goodness. As we quantum leap into the things here, I just kind of needed a sound effect to break things up a little bit. So I went with a little quantum leap sort of sound there, as though we're leaping through the information superhighway. I don't know, I'm just being kind of stupid here. But anyway, the first element that I wanted to share with you is a clip from Stevie Wonder's induction of the great soul singer Bill Withers into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2015. Now, if you're not familiar with Bill Withers, you should be. He's fantastic. He's kind of a contemporary of Stevie's in the 1970s and had a lot of really, really great songs like Use Me, Ain't No Sunshine, Lovely Day, and lots of other great songs. And he was this really humble. There's a great documentary about Bill Withers called The Still Bill that you should check out if you get a chance to, because it really, you really just love the guy after watching that documentary. He's a very humble, down to earth, and yet extremely talented fella. Anyway, as a part of that induction speech, Stevie Wonder played the song Ain't No Sunshine. And as you'll hear in this little clip, and if you watch the video, at the very beginning, he's playing this instrument that sounds almost like an acoustic guitar or like a nylon string guitar. And that instrument is called the arpeggio. You might remember us referencing that in the last interview that I had on with Jim Alfredson. We talked about the arpeggio just a little bit. It's one of those technological things that Stevie seems to kind of glom onto. He's a very, very forward-thinking musician in terms of technology. Although if you saw one, if you look at the video, you'll notice it doesn't look necessarily extremely high-tech. It almost looks like an auto harp. It's like this thing that sits on a stand, and it's got strings, and you kind of tap the strings with your fingers, almost like a hammered dulcimer, but you play it with your fingers. And it's a really cool sounding instrument. There's another instance of that that's going to be coming up. But let's check out a little bit of that and hear Stevie Wonder's take on Ain't No Sunshine.
Ain't no sunshine when she's gone. It's not warm when she's away. Ain't no sunshine when she's gone. She's always gone too long. Anytime she goes away. Wonder this time where she's gone. If she's gonna stay. Ain't no sunshine when she's gone. This house ain't no home. Anytime she goes away. And I know, 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 I know. Hey, I'll live your thing alone, but ain't no sunshine when she's gone. No sunshine when she's gone. Only darkness every day. Ain't no sunshine when she's gone. And this house ain't no gone. Anytime she goes away. 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 Yeah, yeah. My baby's gone, my baby's gone. Baby gone, baby's gone, baby's gone. My baby's gone, my baby's gone, baby's gone. Gone away. mind, she goes away. She goes away.
And that was pretty sweet. Now, if you're a musician and you're listening and you're like, man, that arpeggio sounds pretty sweet, I think I'm going to get me one of those. Well, for the low cost of anywhere from $2,000 to $6,000, the smallest, I think, 12-string model is a $2,000 instrument, and the 24-string model, which is kind of their deluxe instrument, is $6,000. And if you're in a big hurry, don't be. They take about 8 months to make. Now, if you are in a hurry, if you're willing to throw down an extra $1,000, you can get it in 6 months instead of 8 months. So you're not running down to Guitar Center to pick one of those up, I guess. So there you go. That's element number 1 here from our internet grab bag. Let's see what we have next in the grab bag. For our next internet grab bag thing, I was looking into some of the different late night show appearances that Stevie Wonder has made in the last probably 5 years or so. Really, one of the things that Stevie's been doing to kind of stay in the limelight is to appear on late night shows. And there was a very popular James Corden video that was going around with him doing carpool karaoke with James Corden that was really, really cool. And I've had a lot of stuff that had kind of made the rounds, but this was one that was a little different. This was a performance that was on Saturday Night Live in 1983 of the song Overjoyed. And it stuck out to me for a few different reasons. The first one was I love the song Overjoyed. It was one of those songs that kind of came out in the 80s. And wasn't necessarily like the period where I was most paying attention to Stevie Wonder, but the melody is so beautiful and the chord progression is so beautiful. It's really one of those great ballads that he's written that shows, you know, his sort of great American songbook sort of potential as a songwriter. So that was one. Number 2, the performance is from 1983, but the official release of Overjoyed came in 1986 when it was on the album In Square Circle. So that's kind of cool. It's like 3 years before that song was even released officially. Just kind of threw it out there on Saturday Night Live. And if you look into it, actually that song was written for the album Journey Through the Secret Life of Plants, which was released in 1979. So this is a song that's been kind of hanging around and was in his sort of like song bank for 7 years before it was officially released on an album. And at that point, it had been kind of hanging around for 4 or 5 years. And who knows? I mean, the album came out in 79. It's possible that he wrote it before then too. So heaven only knows how long that song was kind of drifting around. So it's just one of those things. I know that in the last interview, one of the things that Jim Alfredson said that really stuck out to me was how he's probably just got this bank of songs that nobody's ever heard, just a vault of stuff. And actually, there's a clip coming up that'll kind of allude to that a little bit, which is kind of cool. But I thought it was really interesting to hear this song before it was ever released and before it had been on the radio and before he'd played it 100 billion times. And it's a really, really, really lovely performance. So let's check out a little bit of Overjoyed from Saturday Night Live in 1983.
Over time, I've been building my castle of love, just for two, though you never knew you were my reason. I've gone much too far for you now to say that I've got to throw my castle away over dreams. I have picked out a perfect come true. Though you never knew it was of you I've been dreaming. The Sandman has come from too far away for you to say come back some other day. And though you don't believe that they do come true. For didn't my dream come true when I looked at you? And maybe too, if you would believe, you too might be overjoyed over love over me. Over hearts I have painfully turned every single stone, just to find I had found what I'd searched to discover. I've gone much too far for me now to find the love that I sought can never be mine. And though you don't believe that they do come true. For didn't my dreams come true when I looked at you? And maybe too, if you would believe, you too might be overjoyed over love over me. And all the odds seem improbable, what do they know? For in romance, all true love needs is a chance, and maybe with that chance you'll find you too, like I, overjoyed over love and over you. Over you. Thank you so much.
Hey, this next segment doesn't feature Stevie Wonder per se, but it features an artist who's covered quite a few of Stevie's tunes, and it's a young fella from England by the name of Jacob Collier. If you're not familiar with who Jacob Collier is, then you might want to get familiar with him because he's pretty impressive. First thing you notice when you watch a Jacob Collier video is that he looks like he's like 12. But in reality, he's 22 years old right now. Still pretty darn young. And then he also has been doing these YouTube videos for quite a while. So his first video, according to Wikipedia, as I'm looking at it right now, was in 2012, which is the one you're going to be hearing, which is a cover of Don't You Worry About a Thing. And I was reading this, and the one that kind of stuck to me, like one of the quotes that was from him, where it's talking about how his family is very musical. His mom's a music teacher at the Royal Academy of Music in London. His grandfather was a prestigious violinist who also taught at the Royal Academy of Music. And it has this quote: "My sisters are amazing. We sing Bach chorales together as a family. It's just so much fun." So instead of throwing things at each other, maybe they do that too. I don't know. But he's definitely an unusual character, that's for sure. So I wanted to play a version of Stevie Wonder's Don't You Worry About a Thing. All the voices, all the instruments that you hear were all played by Jacob Collier. And for those of you that are recording dorks, it says in the video notes that everything was recorded with a single SM58 microphone, a classic Shure microphone, nothing fancy, pretty much stock and trade sort of stuff there. So let's check it out.
Everybody's got a thing, but some don't know how to handle it. Always reaching out in vain, just taking the things not worth having. Don't you worry about a thing. Don't you worry about a thing, baby. 'Cause I'll be standing on the side when you check it out. Say a star of life's a drag, and that you must go other places. Just don't you feel too bad when you get fooled by smiling faces. Don't you worry about a thing. Don't you worry about a thing, baby. 'Cause I'll be standing on the side when you check it out. And you get off your trip. Don't you worry about a thing. Don't you worry about a thing. Don't you worry about it. Just to check out the new. You're the only one to see all the changes you take yourself through. Don't you worry about a thing. Don't you worry about a thing, baby. 'Cause I'll be standing on the side when you check it out. You get off your trip. Don't you worry about a thing. Don't you worry about a thing.
Yeah, that was pretty impressive. So we're going to move on to another video before I feel too embarrassed about my own musical abilities after listening to that. So here's our next one. This next video is pretty cool, and actually it's one of just a bunch of different videos in the same sort of category. Anybody that's been to the NAMM, N-A-M-M, National Association of Music Merchants show knows that Stevie tends to be a presence at those for a couple of different reasons. One being that he's very interested in the newest and greatest in music technology, so he usually goes to the shows to kind of get a sense of what's going on. He also frequently will be there as a representative of Kurzweil musical instruments. Stevie and Kurzweil have had a long relationship. Stevie and Ray Kurzweil of Kurzweil Instruments were very, very close friends and worked together quite a bit on developing products. And he's still a very, very big fan of Kurzweil Instruments, plays them, and will often appear at NAMM, sort of showing off these different Kurzweil instruments. But he'll often, walk around and drop by different booths and do different stuff. And this is a video actually from the Spectrasonics booth. And he was showing off a program called Keyscape, which is kind of like vintage keyboard sort of modeler that I've seen a bunch of times before in videos. And he plays part of the song Tell Me Something Good, which those of you that are 70s music fans might recognize as a hit for Rufus, the band Rufus, featuring a singer called Shaka Khan, who most people, kind of remember Shaka Khan, Rock Me Shaka Khan kind of thing. I don't know, whatever. But what I didn't know, and I learned from doing the research on these videos, is that Tell Me Something Good is actually a Stevie Wonder song. He wrote that tune for Rufus and Shaka Khan. So that was something new I figured out. Of course, that doesn't necessarily mean that he knows all the words, as you're about to find out in just a second. So let's check that out.
I don't even know all the words to the song that I wrote. It don't matter, 'cause we're celebrating the women marching on Washington Day. The answer has always been love and nothing else. If you don't believe, you may as well yourself. Yeah. Tell me something. Tell me, baby, that you like it. Yeah. Tell me, baby, tell me that you like it. Love me, love. Tell me something. Oh, my baby, what does tell me something? Tell me that tell me something. Tell me, baby, that you really like it. Tell me something. Tell me, baby, that you really like it. Tell me something.
All right, so for our next grab bag element that I found, one of the artists that Stevie is kind of associated with, I guess, in a way. I'm not sure if associated is the right word, but an artist that has been strongly influenced and has spoken many times about his admiration for Stevie Wonder is Sting. And Stevie and Sting have collaborated in the past on the song Brand New Day. For example, there's a harmonica part in there that's definitely like, you hear it and you're like, that's either Stevie Wonder or somebody trying to sound like Stevie Wonder a lot. And it's Stevie Wonder actually playing the harmonica solo and the harmonica kind of hook in that song as well. And when Sting had his birthday concert, his 60th birthday concert, as only Sting can, in Madison Square Garden, he invited a bunch of people that he admired to come and perform at this concert. And one of the people that, of course, he tapped to be at the. I hate saying tapped. I don't know why that bothers me so much. I'm not going to say tapped. One of the people that he asked to appear at his concert was, of course, Stevie Wonder. And Stevie did a performance of one of Sting's classic songs, Fragile, from Nothing Like the Sun, that just set the hair on the back of my neck to stand up. It's just so amazing. And like, it really, like, it's one of the examples of Stevie taking somebody else's song and just kind of completely owning it as his own. Like, that's the version of Fragile to me now after hearing that. And it's a really, really wonderful performance. He sings, he plays a harmonica solo. It's just off the hook. So let's check out Sting and Stevie Wonder from Sting's 60th birthday concert at Madison Square Garden doing Fragile.
I love this song. Blood will flow, and flesh and still on, drying in the color of the evening sun. Tomorrow's rain will wash the stain away, but something in our minds will always stay. Perhaps this final act was meant to cleanse a lifetime's argument, and nothing comes from violence, and nothing ever could. For all those born beneath an angry star, lest we forget how fragile we are. On and on, the rain will fall like tears from the star, like tears from the star. On and on, the rain will say how fragile we are, how fragile we are. Tears from the star, like tears from a star. On and on, the rain will say how fragile we are, how fragile we are. On and on, the rain will fall like tears from a star, like tears from a star. Stevie Wonder.
All right, for this next thing, this is a little longer clip. So this is one you might want to save for when you have a little bit more time. And we're just going to, highlight a little bit of it. But one of the things that I found, I was actually looking for a clip from a series called Classic Albums, which you can sometimes find in the DVD section at Barnes & Noble, or if you look online, sometimes you can find them there and on Amazon, where they highlight a certain album from an artist's career, and they interview and they go through the multi-track tapes and show you all the stuff that maybe you didn't hear before. And there's lots of really great ones. There's a great one about Nevermind, by Nirvana, that's got interviews with Butch Vig and Dave Grohl and Chris Novoselic and everybody that was involved with the record. And then there's a really good one about Rumors. There's a rather famous one about Asia, that anybody that is a Steely Dan fan usually is like, hey, have you seen the Asia one? They've got that one. And there's one that's a little harder to find, actually a lot harder to find, based on songs in the key of life. And I was actually looking for clips from that, and I couldn't find it, but I kind of bumped into this documentary released in the early 1970s for the album Intervisions. And it was kind of like an EPK, an electronic press kit, before there was such a thing. So it's kind of this reel that would probably have gone out to, I don't even know where it would have gone. But it features some interviews and then some performances of songs live in the studio. And what's really outstanding about it is not only just that you get to hear these live performances of these songs from Intervisions that but there's an outtake. And it was one of those things that we were talking about in my last interview, about the idea of Stevie having all these like unreleased songs vaulted up. And there's one in this particular video of a song called The Fine Young Thing that I'm going to play a little bit of. And it's really cool. It's kind of in the middle of the video, and it's like a 22-minute long video. All of it's really, really great. There's a couple of spots where you can skip ahead. There's like a guy from the record company yammering, but there's some great musical performances and some great interviews with Stevie in this video, and it's super cool. But I wanted to play a little bit of the song Fine Young Thing that was never released as far as I know, and it's pretty cool. So let's check that out.
1, 2, 3.
Loving you so long ago. Everybody said that it could not be so. Oh, we flew them well, but didn't we? Honey pie. Took our magic ship and we drove there.
we've come to the last of the grab bag elements that I'm going to share with you today. And of course, there is a treasure trove of Stevie Wonder stuff on the internet, especially on YouTube. So I would really strongly recommend it. It was hard to pick, honestly, what I wanted to highlight because there was so much good stuff. So if you had a couple hours to kill, go down the rabbit hole of Stevie Wonder videos on YouTube because there's all kinds of cool stuff. There's performance videos from Europe from the 1970s that are really, really cool. Just all kinds of great stuff from different eras, all the way back to the 1960s to today. So you can check out those. So I would, if you're a Stevie fan, I would really, really strongly recommend that you waste a few hours away checking out some Stevie online. But for my last clip, I wanted to do something a little more recent. So I went to the 2014 Grammy Awards, which 2014 was the year of Daft Punk and Get Lucky. You might remember that hit tune they had. It was kind of everywhere all the time. And they were performing at the Grammy Awards. Now, I'll be honest, I'm going to pull the hipster card and I'm like, I don't really watch the Grammys because I'm not typically interested in what's going on most of the time in popular music. It's kind of boring, frankly, but I kind of got word. I don't remember if I read something or somebody told me about it or something, but there were some rumors about, Daft Punk is going to be on with this totally crazy band. So you should probably check it out. So I tuned in just to watch Daft Punk. And they didn't let me down because in the band playing along with Daft Punk in their spaceman outfits, doing whatever it is that they do. I don't get DJs. I really don't. I don't get it. Like I watched this I'm tangent here, but I watched this documentary about Stevie Aoki, who's this, if you're not familiar with who that is, he's this big DJ guy. And I was trying to figure out, like, he was talking through the whole documentary about how hard he's working, like how hard he works for his music. And I'm like, at no point in the documentary did they ever really show what he does exactly as a musician. I don't know if they're afraid of giving away secrets or what. I don't know. Like, there were a lot of photo shoots and flying on planes and whatnot, but there wasn't much going on in the world of making music. So I'm not, and I'm not denigrating electronic music or DJs or any of that sort of thing. I'm sure it's difficult and there's, creativity involved. I just don't understand it. Maybe I'm old. I don't know. I'm definitely old, but maybe that's part of it. But at any rate, I kind of got off on a tangent there. So you had Daft Punk in the back in their spaceman outfits and they're doing their thing, whatever it is. And then in their band, they had Nile Rodgers from Chic playing guitar. They had Nathan East, the bass god, playing bass. Omar Hakim, a wonderful, amazing session drummer. He played on some of my favorite records all throughout time. He's played on a bunch of stuff, but he's played with Peter Gabriel, and he's played on The Seeds of Love by Tears for Fears, one of my all-time favorite records. He was on Dream of the Blue Turtles and that cool band that Sting had with Kenny Kirkland and Daryl Jones and Branford Marsalis. So, just this really, really super amazing band. And also Stevie Wonder. And Stevie was playing the harpeggion. It was the first time, I think anyway, and anybody had seen the harpeggi on TV before. And I remember the internet kind of blew up. Like, what the hell is that thing that Stevie Wonder was playing? I've never seen it. Like, is that a dulcimer or what the heck was that? And that's when the harpeggi first kind of popped into sort of like the consciousness of people that were into music instruments and technology and all that sort of stuff. And the thing that was really cool about this performance is how they kind of took Get Lucky and let it kind of be sort of like a canvas for the other artists in the band to showcase their songs. So they do Get Lucky for a little bit, and then they would kind of flip over and do a little bit of Le Freak by Chic, and then kind of like weave Get Lucky into it. So they're almost doing like a live mashup. And at the very end, they went into Another Star. And I remember when that happened in the live broadcast, and I just was like, oh my God, they're doing Another Star. This is amazing. So it was one of my all-time favorite music performances that I've seen on the Grammys, which I don't tend to watch very much, but still one of my favorite performances. So we're going to check that out right now.
She's up all night to get sun. I'm up all night to get some. She's up all night to get fun. I'm up all night to get lucky. We're up all night to the sun. We're up all night to get some. We're up all night to get fun. We're up all night to get lucky. 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 La 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 la. La 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 la.
Through my eyes, the light of you is all I see.
We're up all night to get lucky. We're up all night to get lucky.
For you, there might be another storm, but in my God, your melody will stay with me.
We're up all night to get lucky. We're up all night to get lucky. La 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 la.
All right, so that's our show for today. Thank you very much, Internet, I guess, for providing all these different clips for us to listen to. Obviously, all the different clips are the property of all the various places. We're just presenting them for journalistic interest to kind of spread the Stevie word here a little bit. And all of the links to the videos that we featured audio clips from will be in the show notes, and you can find them on the show page, theyearoflivingstevie.blogspot.com, so that you can go see them yourself. I mean, hearing them is fine, but the visual element is really, really awesome too to check out on some of them as well. So I would definitely encourage you. Plus, you'll get the suggested videos on the side to take you in different directions as well. So it's like going down the rabbit hole. It's going to be pretty amazing. For our next show, we'll be featuring the Aeon Wanderers, a very unique duo that records transatlantically, which makes it very difficult for them to do a live performance. We have a really great chat with them about how they make music and about their process, and it's going to be a lot of fun. They're really, really cool. I think you're going to like them, and their performances are super cool too. If you'd like to keep up with what's happening in the podcast, you should subscribe to, I'm not telling you what you should do, I don't know, but if you want to, you can subscribe to our Facebook page, Year of Living Stevie on Facebook. You can also hit our Twitter feed, Living Stevie on Twitter is our handle. And if you have any questions or comments, the Facebook page is a great place for that. Or you can email livingstevie@gmail.com. Of course, you could also visit the abnormalentertainment.com website for our show and lots of other shows that are super amazing. There's some great stuff. The No Cry Zone is a really great political podcast that features a couple friends of mine. There's all kinds of great stuff for all different interests at abnormalentertainment.com. Or you can visit the show page at theyearoflivingstevie.blogspot.com for all kinds of different stuff. We still have Stevie is the Truth stickers available, $3 shipped to your door. So you can check those out. You can buy them on Facebook, or you can email me at livingstevie.com or livingstevie@gmail.com, and we'll figure out a way to get one to you. Thanks for being with us today. Stevie is the Truth.
Mr. Stevie Wonder. Mr. Stevie Wonder. Mr. Stevie Wonder. Mr. Stevie Wonder.
Head to abnormalentertainment.com for all of our podcasts and blogs. Go to cinemaheadcheese.com for our movie reviews and news. Don't forget our YouTube channels, Abnormal Podcast and Cinema Head Cheese. Get us on Twitter, @AbnormalPodcast. and find all of our shows and Abnormal Entertainment on Facebook.
You've been listening to the Abnormal Entertainment Network.